Hello, everyone. It's another week, which means it's time to discuss what's happening this week in NASCAR here in the NASCAR Weekly Podcast on YouTube. Oh my gosh. Technical difficulties. I don't think the intro quite worked on my end, but hey, we're back. We'll play it from here. How y'all doing? It's Danny B. You know the rest of us. We've got a very special guest here tonight, though. Welcome. He's a three-time winner in the NASCAR K&N Series. He's a one-time winner in Arca. Please welcome the son of Larry McReynolds, Brandon McReynolds. Absolutely, Brandon. Brandon, thank you so much. Now tell us, you was at a sponsor meeting tonight, correct? Very good. Well, Brandon, it's definitely nice of you to take some time out of your schedule to meet with us tonight. Guys, what kind of questions do you have for Mr. McReynolds while he's here?
I think another question the guys here might want to know about is what growing up in motorsports. What was that experience like, sort of being behind the scenes?
Yeah, it was interesting. It's cool to get kind of a look at everything that goes on in the garage. I can remember growing up from day one.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it.
Davey and Ernie Irvin and Dale Earnhardt and Mike Skinner and some of those guys, and just being able to spend time at the racetrack and understand how those guys handle their business, especially as a driver. My dad never drove, so it was hard to kind of connect with him on what I needed to do growing up, being a better race car driver, but it was also very beneficial to have those experiences and see how his drivers reacted to him as a crew chief. And I really have tried to apply that, as my years that I've been coming up, trying to make it as a race car driver. So it was cool, man, getting to probably one of my better stories growing up in the racing community is me and Jeb Burton, who's Ward Burton's son. We used to walk around and get all the drivers' signatures in the brochures, and basically go out with all the programs and try to sell them for some money to whoever would buy them from us. And we would take that money and go RC racing all weekend while our dads were working throughout the weekend. So we always tried to find a way to have some fun and go out in the campground and all that, and go run some slot cars or RC cars or whatever was set up in the fan area. So there was definitely some good times, and a lot of them scooter racing in the on the Razor scooters in the driver owner lot for sure as a young kid.
So I gotta ask this question, Brendan. Obviously, your dad has spent many years in the booth for NASCAR on Fox. How often do you hear his quotes from other people? Always saying cautions breed cautions and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of times I don't hear too many people talking about Dad's quotes, or saying them back to me or anything like that. But it's funny whenever I get online or on YouTube and I'm trying to look up a race to try to go back and watch a race to learn for myself. You'll see Larry McReynolds. Some of his quotes pop up or where he made a mistake, and people will post those videos. So it's kind of funny to go back and listen to some of the times that my dad or DW or Mike Joy they've made a mistake, and people make those videos out of there. But I know they've had a lot of really good calls, especially when those three were in the booth. And yes, those days seeing my dad in the booth and interacting with Darrell Waltrip and Mike Joy, but I know he's really enjoying what he's doing now, and I'm really proud of him, and I think he's looking forward to another year with Fox this year.
Sweet.
Very good.
Eric, you got one?
Yeah, I was going to ask. You told us a little bit before the show, but I think it'd be interesting for fans watching to know. We know you're running the Arca race at Daytona this weekend, running the really cool Davey Allison Throwback. What does that paint scheme mean to you? And also, what other races or what other possibilities do we have seeing you on the racetrack in 2019?
Yeah, no, the Davey Allison Throwback is huge for me and my family, and hopefully the Allison family. It's an honor to be able to carry Davey's colors. I wish that he was still with us, and I feel like our sport would be better off if he still was. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to mean a lot, especially I know to my dad and to Davey's late wife, Liz Allison. At the end of the day, I'm really looking forward to all my opportunities this year. I've been working with Noah Gregson, working with him on driver management and some consulting and driver coaching and things like that. And then also, my on-track experiences, I'll be able to run hopefully a couple ARCA races depending on funding throughout the year. Want to get U.S. workboats and Soaring Eagle Resort and Casino a good run on Saturday night. And then I'm actually going to be headed over Sunday to run my Riker Group Chevrolet in the K&N Series for John Visconti, which I'm really excited about that program. It's been small, but it's been building. We were lucky enough to win Loudon up there in New Hampshire last year. So really excited with what we got going on there. Probably end up running 5 to 6 races with those guys. So definitely a lot going on. But at the end of the day, cash is king, and it's important to have good partners to where you can continue racing, because ultimately that's what it's all about, to make sure you can put those cars on the track.
Yeah, for sure.
So earlier in the week when we knew that we would have you on, I decided I'd go on to your Wikipedia page and see what there was. And one of the interesting facts I found was that you were a guest analyst for K&N Pro Series West race. So do you have any sort of aspirations to go into the media after driving? Yeah,
I think the biggest thing nowadays, we all know it, and you guys know it. Like I said earlier, just racing is an awesome sport, and it's a great business, and it teaches you a lot about life, and it teaches you a lot about sports and the business side of things, and how to represent good companies. But ultimately, if the funding's not there, you got to find a way to survive. And one of the things that I feel like I've done a decent job at is pursuing new opportunities, whether if it's not driving a race car, it's how do I learn how to work on cars. So I've built cars myself. I've built my own race cars. I've hung bodies for MDM who won a K&N championship with Harrison Burton. I've got to do a lot of cool things, but Jeff Burton actually called me up a couple years ago and said, hey, there's some opportunities to possibly do a couple voiceovers for NBCSN with a West Series race when they were racing at Salt Lake City. So I went in and I feel like I did a decent job my first one. It probably didn't sound too good to most of the fans, but I've kind of evolved from that. And so I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously my first goal is to make sure that I'm working with Noah Gregson and trying to benefit his career in any which way I can, whether it's on track or off track. Obviously, my dream of being a race car driver will never go away, but it's all depending on sponsorships. And I enjoy the TV side of things, and I hope people enjoy listening to me, and we'll just see where it goes from here on out. I think I'm going to do around 10 to maybe 12 K&N voiceovers this year for their broadcasts on the West Series and the East Series, so we're really looking forward to that.
Brandon, I got a question for you. Several years back, your first ARCA win at Talladega, your home state track. Your dad was there. What's it like? Still thinking back to that race.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's a great question. I can remember going back even this week and watching super speedway races that I ran in just to take notes on some of the mistakes I made or things that I did right to keep in my back pocket for this weekend's Arca race. But that race popped up on YouTube and all the time watching it. The cool part for me is as a race there for yourself, and you got to be willing to do whatever it takes to get the job done. But the coolest part of that win that I had never experienced before is I was just really happy for my dad. I know my dad's done so much for me to get to where I am in anything in life, and ultimately to be able to win a race on Arca's one of Arca's biggest stages in his home state, where he grew up and went to his first Cup race at Talladega Super Speedway. It was just so cool for him to lean his head in and when I pulled into victory lane and us kind of just share that moment, just kind of grabbing the back of his head and just saying we did it, man, like, because I wouldn't have been able to do it without him. So that was one of the coolest victories of my life, if not the best. And hopefully we can do it again with the old Davey Allison 28 this weekend down here in Daytona.
So as of right now, you're only scheduled to run this one Arca race at Daytona on Saturday and stuff. So is there any plans to do a few more Arca races in 2019?
Yeah. So Mike Bursley, the owner of the team, KBR Development, we've looked at the schedule. As of right now, they have a young driver named Carson Hosevar out of Michigan that does a really good job for them. Unfortunately for Carson, he's not old enough to run any of the big tracks. So there's the exception to Daytona. I think there's about 8 races that are on the schedule that KBR Development is looking to fill. Obviously, every single day that we're looking for partnerships to be able to come on and make it happen for them to run the full season. But I think you guys might see me in the car a few more times this year. I just don't know quite yet what that schedule is going to look like. The next one we would be looking at would be either Talladega or Charlotte, but it's just going to be a matter of trying to make sure that our partners that we have right now stay happy with U.S. Workboats and Soaring Eagle Resort and Casino, or if we can bring on additional partners to make that happen. So hopefully we can have a good run this weekend. That'll help fill out my schedule a little bit more.
Oh yeah, a win would be really big for you for sure.
That's right.
Well, Brandon, we definitely hope that everything does work out for you in search for sponsorship and search to compete more. And definitely do hoping that you get to make another run at Talladega. That'd be really nice, like you said. It'd be great to see you go to victory lane one more time there.
No, I appreciate that, man. No, I can't wait to get back down to the state of Alabama. That's definitely one of my favorite places to go. I always tell everyone whenever we cross over coming over from Atlanta, coming down from Charlotte, that as soon as you cross that state line, you're in God's country. So definitely looking forward to coming back down there in the spring.
Very good, very good. Well, I don't know if the other guys have any more questions for you, but hey, Brandon, we appreciate you coming on. We don't want to keep up your time. Get back to your sponsors and go make them happy, because if you're making them happy, they're going to make you happy when they write that check for you to go compete.
No, I appreciate it, guys, and I appreciate y'all having me on to tell my story and to talk about my great partners and the great teams I'm getting to race for. And I look forward to coming on and hanging out and talking with you guys sometime again here soon.
It's good to hear. Thanks, man.
Awesome. Thanks for being on, man.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
All right. Well, that was Brendan McReynolds, guys. And really quick, sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning. We understand you guys couldn't hear like the first 2 questions and stuff, but thankfully we got it fixed there.
Yeah, that would be on Danny B. Take blame for that. But hey, we may have just got done talking to Brandon McReynolds, but we do have a Dale Reynolds here.
That's
hey,
right.
What's going on, everybody?
For those of you who don't know, Dale Reynolds is the best core driver in the core series right now. He's currently the points leader at the moment.
Hey, you guys got to stop with that. Sound has been teasing me all season with that, and it hasn't got me nowhere. So,
Hey, man. 9 races in, or actually, 9 races in so far, and you're still the points leader with no wins. I mean, that's impressive.
I've got as many wins as
Oh
the
my
points
gosh!
leader.
Thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly
I don't
appreciate
know.
it.
It is we seem to have just been really, really consistent, and it's you know, some tweets here and there are kind of indicative about like, oh man, I wish we really could have won and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you know, you still have a good run, and you know, it's just it's one of those situations where I mean, it kind of goes back to Iceberg's video of Gordon in 2007. It's like, yeah, you're doing really good and really consistent, but your competition is winning 4 straight races. So you know, it's like, you know, I'm blessed to be the points leader and represent Core in the way that I am, and you know, sometimes I have a little bit of a tricky tongue that I got to watch out for, but you know, I'm really glad to be leading the points and having a great battle with Ed and Brian as well.
Absolutely. I do see we did have a super chat come in, and I think we had a couple while we was talking with Brandon, so I apologize for missing those. But the Reverend Rasheem Stewart asked, which driver would you like to see in Cup Series? Brandon McReynolds. Let's see him. Let's see him get a ride.
Yeah.
I'm on board for that.
I think there was one other right towards the start. I don't know. Like, I could scroll up really quick. I'll check. But while I'm doing that, we got a lot of stuff.
A lot. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. Where do we start? Where do we even start, man?
I'd say the aero test. I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah.
Put a blindfold on and throw a dart at something.
You were there on the ground floor. You were right there in person, Darian, for that test. What was it like?
Yeah, I'll talk about it for a little bit there. First off, I was like really tired both days. I had to wake up hella early, 6 a.m. and stuff, and then had to drive like 30 minutes out to the track and stuff. It was pretty cool. Got to meet Keselowski and even Bubba Wallace too. I shook his hand too, so that was pretty cool. His hauler is like it's really crappy though. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't even know. I'm sorry, but like I first off, I didn't even know that it was even Bubba's hauler. It was just painted like it was just painted black. There was like no designs on the hauler or anything like that. And then compared to Keselowski's and Penske's hauler, it's like, but you know, the aero test and stuff, it was basically what I expected. Like, yeah, the cars were close and stuff, but the problem is they can't pass. They can't really pass and stuff. It's really hard to pass at times. Well, let me rephrase that. I think it's pretty easy to pass maybe in like the first, 5-10 laps, but then as you get into those long runs, the cars start to get more spread out and stuff like that too. And another interesting thing is that Jeff Gluck was there too. I had a short conversation with him about the package and stuff. And I'm not going to say who he said, but like this was on the final day of the test and stuff. And a certain somebody was like up front for most of it. And Jeff Gluck said like, with all due respect, that guy shouldn't be up there. So it seems like that this aero package really favors track position more than anything. So, it's going to be really important for these, pit crews and these crew chiefs and stuff to try and get their car out front on pit stops under caution and during green flag pit stops. But we also saw some diversity too. From during one of the sessions, Bubba was the fastest, which is crazy. And then you had Austin Dillon up there and stuff. You had even Ty Dillon was running up front too in these test sessions as well. So, I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see what type of racing this package can produce once we actually start going racing at Atlanta. But I really think Vegas is going to be the first real test with this package because Atlanta's track surface. I mean, come on, they haven't repaved it since what, 97, something like that.
Well, I will say I noticed from the Twitter video or stream you put out, Darian, it seemed like under the lights, they actually performed better with this package. Like there's a lot of 2, 3, and then 4 wide racing.
Yeah, and I think I even expected that. I think I even said that. I think I said last week, like, yeah, I was gonna expect some more action under the lights and stuff.
And what I was thinking is, I find it kind of odd because sort of conventional knowledge shows that under the lights it should be more a single groove track, not side by side, but it was almost like this package has made it the opposite and flipped it. Because what I noticed is like during the daytime, like someone could get a run, but they just stall out and it would be same old, but it's like under the lights, the racing, it was like you could pass more. There's more maneuverability, it seemed like. And I wish they would have put that one on NASCAR's main channel because it was really entertaining. Like, I think I was sitting in there with a few guys on Discord, and we're sitting there sort of making jokes like, oh, great, it's just going to be the same old. And then we're like, wait a minute, this is actually good. Like,
yeah, the one thing I noticed with the with what NASCAR did during the stream, they turned the chat off. They even disabled likes and dislikes and stuff just in case, like.
I do find that I did find that is something that's really good though, seeing how Las Vegas is adding a night race this year.
Right.
And there's other tracks that they're going to be racing later in the day, so maybe the racing early might not be as good, but it gets better as the day goes on, which I don't think there's really anything that could be bad about that.
And another thing, just a really quick side note, another thing I noticed is that during some of these sessions, they would like put some of the smaller teams out front. So like during one of them, Landon Castle started on the front row just to see if these smaller teams could hang. And he couldn't. So I guess that's one indication and stuff. Like, like obviously you're still going to need some backing in your teams and stuff. Because I feel like that was one misconception is that, with this package, anyone can win. Well, that's not the case.
Going back to what you were saying, though, Jared, about how like it does feel like it's flipped, sort of the fact that we didn't expect the night racing to look better with this package. I remember after the All-Star race last year, a lot of people saying, well, we can't do this at every track because we saw how in the open during the day racing was great, but when we got to the night race, like it was terrible. Like once you get grip on the track, once it gets dark, it's not going to work as well. And that was the big argument I saw against this aero package. Like, it only works during perfect conditions. And now the fact that we've seen kind of the opposite, it seems, in this test, because I agree that evening test session they did it like around sunset, like dusk, where you had Jimmy Johnson in 6th place coming out of turn 4. By the entry to turn 1, he was in 3rd going for the lead. Like he was like, that was insane. You don't see that in a test session. You don't even see that in a race very often, let alone at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. My biggest takeaway was ultimately, I thought there was more passing than I expected from about 3rd place. I mean, there's only like 14 cars to test, but from about 3rd to 10th, I felt like cars could pass better than we've ever seen them, or at least not in the last 5 years, probably not in the Gen 6 era at these intermediate tracks. Like Las Vegas, you just don't see that type of passing, at least not recently. But we were seeing that in this case. So I was pleasantly surprised. I was worried that it would be really hard to pass throughout the pack. The one thing that I kind of expected, and I was hopeful that maybe it would be better than I thought, it was basically exactly what I thought. It's really my biggest criticism, I should say, with this package is the fact that it is too hard to pass the leader. Even with a little bit of drafting help, it seems like if you're the 2nd place car, it's very, very, very difficult to pull out a line and actually complete a pass for the lead. We saw it happen a couple of times. We had it one time happen, I think Kyle Busch got by Clint Boyer, and he said, Clint Boyer just let me go. Like, it wasn't a real pass. I'm like, all right, Kyle, we know you hate the package, but okay. We did see a couple passes for lead, and I like that you brought up, putting the smaller teams up front. There was one point where they put Landon Castle and Matt DiBenedetto on the front row for one of their like little restarts, and yeah, we saw Castle drop like a rock because that's a 40th place team. Matt DiBenedetto hung in there for a few laps, but eventually he dropped like a rock. That's what I expect from this package. We saw guys like Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer consistently in every single session. They bubbled to the front of the pack, whereas Austin Dillon, Matt DiBenedetto, Bubba Wallace eventually faded in every single session. So at the end of the day, I think it has equalized the field a little bit, but I wouldn't say it's made it such a wild card where Bubba Wallace can go out and win 5 races. Like, that's not going to happen this year. But so I think at the end of the day, everybody 6 months ago or 3 months ago when they really announced this, everybody overreacted, obviously, because I don't think what we saw in this test session, I don't think anyone can look at that and say it was 100% bad, but I don't think anybody can look at it and say it's 100% good either. I think there's good aspects. I think there's bad aspects. I'm still positive on it because, as we know now, the Gen 7 is going to be coming pretty soon. This is kind of a bridging the gap. And, nobody was looking forward to Las Vegas races anyways. I'm glad they're trying something different at some of these tracks.
Hey, come on, the locals are.
I live here in Texas, and I'm not even looking forward to Texas races. So with the package, I'm a little intrigued. I'm a little for the April race.
No, I feel you, man.
Yeah, I could agree with that. The package is going to bring everybody together. Do we want everybody together 30 seconds apart? Do we everybody 5 seconds apart?
To Danny B. Talks.
Fast
You're
teams
going
are
to
always
love
still
it
going to
here.
be fast. That's. I think I said something like that on Twitter before. Is that you get your DiBenedetto and Castle up front. Yeah, they're going to be up front. They might not stay up front, but fast teams in NASCAR will always stay fast. That's just how it works. Anybody saying that Matt DiBenedetto or Landon Castle or somebody's going to win 10 races because everything's so equal, that's just not going to happen. Fast teams will always stay fast.
Yeah. And another thing I wanted to also ask you guys, some people were saying like, oh, this package it's so hard to catch the leader. Isn't that the problem with like every single package? I mean, it's supposed to be really hard to catch the leader. Am I right?
Well, yeah. I think that we have this sort of misnomer that every race is supposed to be like NASCAR Thunder 2004, where everyone is side by side everywhere, all the way down the field. Where it's like, I mean, even in the Gen 4 days, which I consider to be, the
Thank
best,
you for
I think the best
subscribing
race
to
in
Danny B
NASCAR's ever
Talks.
had. The
Gluten
leader
over here.
still has an advantage with clean air. You're like, once you get to a certain point, you're not going to get, you're not going to be able to avoid it. Like the leader will always have the advantage of clean air. Now, how much of an advantage is to NASCAR's discretion of how they want to change the cars, but I don't think that we're going to have every week. There's never going to be a time where we're going to have it where the leader is only like just in front, and every week is like Talladega. Like no matter what they do, unless they have the cars going like with a governor at 30 miles an hour, there's no way you're going to do that at every track. So this is probably the best we can get when it comes to keeping the whole pack close. And again, fast, like Dale said, fast cars are going to be fast, and when slower cars are in front of them, they're going to catch them. So
Right. The one thing that's negative about this package, though, is obviously making the speed slower. The races are going to be way longer. So, like, let's say, we're doing like a 400 or a 500 mile race. It's going to be really interesting to see, like, when they'll get the race done in time. Because I think that's another problem that NASCAR has had and stuff, and some fans have complained about for a while. It's just that some of these races can seem very long and mundane from time to time and stuff. But then with this package and stuff, yeah, the racing is closer, but like the races, they're going to be longer. So I don't know.
Well, I don't think it'll be too much longer.
Yeah,
I mean,
maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. It's not. They're still running like 180 mile an hour laps. Not too far out from what they used to. But I mean, it does make a good point because a lot of people say there's going to be more cautions at these tracks, and that remains to be seen. But yeah, there's probably. I'd say at intermediate tracks we might see a small increase in caution. So
that's the thing. Like I don't really think there's going to be like as many cautions, honestly. I mean, because when you really look at it,
so much for
Kyle
that
Busch,
super chat.
we're probably going to talk about him later on in the show. But when I was there and stuff, he said, that the truck package and stuff, this is very similar to the Truck Series package they had last year. And he said the thing that makes that, those races more exciting is that you have the good guys like himself, and then you have some of the, then you have the Matt Craftons and the Johnny Sodders, and then you have some of those trash guys and stuff in there, and those trash teams who sort of wreck from time to time and they're also prone to make more mistakes. So and like in the Cup Series, you don't really everyone's damn near perfect, close to perfect in the Cup Series. So I'm not really sure if we're going to see obviously the racing is going to be closer, but as far as those cautions coming out and those mistakes being made, I don't know if we're going to see that, quite honestly.
Like Danny, you got a super chat there.
Oh, did he? Very good. Let me pull it up here.
I got it right here.
Bear with me. I've been trying to figure out something. I thought that I had disabled Streamlabs, and I consistently keep hearing it, so I apologize for that. Okay, so here it is. Here it is actually here from Motorsports Games. Thank you very much for the $5 donation. Bold prediction: Matt DiBenedetto will win at least one race. It'd be nice to see it. I'm not going to say that I agree.
Nope. Not happening.
I'm a huge DiBenedetto fan. You see, I'll take the 32 in the core, but I don't think he's gonna get. I mean, he'll be up front. He's got a good team. He'll be a good somebody that I think can make the chase. But winning a race, even for me, that's a little bit too far.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. Maybe in maybe in his second year with the team, maybe, but no, I don't really see that happening this year.
Going back really quick to the package, I want to address something that at first I was kind of like, are you serious? But then the more I looked at it, and when I looked back, I realized is not as big a deal as people are making it out to be. The Xfinity cars being faster than the Cup cars. It's not the first time this has happened. Like, not even close. I know it hasn't happened for a long time, and I don't think by the end of the year they will be faster, because I think that the people working on the Cup cars are much smarter than anyone gives them credit for. But even back in 2007, when they introduced the COT, the then Busch Series cars were faster than the Cup cars, and it didn't last very long. It's not going to last very long this time, and I don't think that in the grand scheme of things and arguments, because again, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but if you're going to have a real argument against this package, that doesn't really hold any water. Like, I don't know. Yeah. The teams will figure out how to make the cars.
Actually, they already have. Like, they're starting to get more faster and more spread out quickly. As the long runs go on, I saw it from time to time during the test sessions and stuff. So, yeah, like, they're already figuring out these cars. I mean, once again, NASCAR, they're underestimating like what these teams can do and figure out with these cars. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, even going back to when they were when everybody knows that fiasco in New Hampshire in 2000 when they threw the restrictor plates on the cars, like in an emergency, because we unfortunately lost Kenny Irwin and Adam Petty at New Hampshire that year. But a lot of the people back then were talking about how I think Dale Earnhardt himself, it may not be a quote, but from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s book Driver Number 8, which I did read, he did say that his father complained about the restrictor plates, talking about that the Winston Cup Series was the premier series at the time, and the modifieds were going faster than they were at New Hampshire. I mean, there's no real argument to that, because if you're going to call that, the modifieds are going to be faster anywhere that's a half mile or less than the Cup cars. So the way I see it is that with this new package, the cars are going to be going pretty much the same speed that they were in the Gen 4 days, because the cars are really fast now. We back them down a little bit. The speed really doesn't matter to me, honestly. As long as they put on a good show and they're not going 90 miles an hour.
Yeah. By the way, that 2000s race, it's for you younger fans, it's considered the worst NASCAR race of all time. So if you ever have the chance, go watch it, but it'll be tough. I'm just saying.
It'd be very tough indeed.
Yeah. Oh, really quick, I saw in the chat. So everybody, Danny's at 3969 subscribers. Can we get him to 4K by the end of this?
Nice.
Danny be 4K.
Nice on the 3969, but let's get to 4,000.
That's right. Hashtag get Danny to 4K.
Or 4K, like the quality of this stream.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Close enough.
Sure.
What's the next thing we should talk about? Is have we gotten our aero package? I'd love to vent about the aero package more, but I know we have a full show tonight, and I'm excited.
I want to talk about something real quick. An exciting sponsorship announcement for Corey Lajoie getting Old Spice is back in NASCAR with Corey Lajoie, and see how my hair kind of looks? That's the entire car right there.
What's funny about that is that I thought this was like, oh, okay, this is just some joke. But then I actually saw they were wrapping the car with his face and stuff, and I'm like on it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real. I don't know. It's very unexpected and stuff. Just considering the fact that teams they're a lot smaller, and Lajoie he's still also developing some. So you wouldn't think that a big time sponsor like that would put some give support to a small team like that, but that's an awesome story. I can't wait to see the car in person though.
I don't know. After seeing all the Terry Crews ads, it kind of makes some sense to me.
See, I thought it was a joke at first. Like, Runnings Racing sent it to me, and I'm thinking, oh, it's a cool edit. And then I'm like, wait a minute. And I like zoom out, and I'm like, wait, that's the official Go Fast Racing account. Okay, I'll take it. I mean, it's not the only, as we found out today, it's not the only crazy scheme that we're going to be having this year. Mm-hmm. Does anyone remember the Millennial car?
Oh yes, they're bringing that. They are bringing that this year.
They're bringing it to the All-Star race, ladies and gentlemen. The All-Star race.
So they lied. It wasn't the Daytona 500. So they do have some semblance of caring about what their image looks like.
My two reactions, though, to the Old Spice car. One, it's great that Old Spice is back in NASCAR. I know they're just kind of dipping their toe back in. It's the biggest race, but they are sponsoring a smaller team. But that's still nice to see that they're at least kind of dipping their toe back in.
Yeah.
And secondly, I just love that it's Corey Lajoie's face. Like, he's got the most, like, just average, like, beard guy face. Like, when you think white guy with a beard, I think of Corey Lajoie. And that's just plastered now for all to see. This is the one time I wish they were still running the Fusions, because the way the grill opening would look, he would look hilarious. And he'd just yeah, it'd be great.
Man,
So, I give it 10 points for creativity and it's an absurdity. It's hilarious.
What if that car wins the 500? What if that car wins?
I will buy the race win diecast. I will spend my whole life savings on it.
I think I'd buy it too, and I definitely got to work then on my beard game if I'm not the first thought that anyone thinks of with white guy with
Thank
beard.
you for
You're way
subscribing
better
to
though.
Danny
See,
B
people
Talks. You're
always
going
set
to
their
love it
expectations
here.
low. If that's when they hit Corey LaJoie. You got to like up your expectations and bam, oh my gosh. All of us with our beards.
Yeah, I think that's a diecast. I don't buy that many diecasts, but that's probably one where I'll probably put some money into and get that.
They have to make that one. If they don't make that diecast, it's a crime against humanity.
It'll make no sense. I mean.
Thank you for subscribing to Danny B
But
Talks.
hold on,
You're
I do
going
have
to
this
love it
question
here.
though. Which one is better, his or Bam Racing's one from 2003 with Carrot Top?
Oh,
which one?
His totally.
Really?
I love those old, Gen 4 cars and the schemes they had, but you can't beat this one. Like, this is just great. Especially since I don't know if it's going to be like that when they have the actual car, but when they were showing the pictures of them putting it together, it looked like they only had his two front teeth, so it looks like he's like a buck-tooth dude car driving. I want to see Kyle Busch driving like in the lead and have Corey LaJoie come up and pass him, and then you just see this buck-tooth dude.
Or cam where you just see this mouth like slowly filling the frame.
Right.
I am so glad that Barstool Sports is going to be there that weekend. Oh, I'm so glad, because I guarantee they'll talk about that.
And speaking of Barstool Sports, like they've got now a kind of like a friendship with Corey LaJoie. So Corey LaJoie is doing some great things, and go back to the Old Spice car. If Old Spice wants to come back for this race, maybe a couple others, I still would love for them to do the Cal Naughton Jr. scheme sometime.
Oh my gosh, Darlington!
I was gonna say if the Darlington or if Talladega Nights came out in the '90s, that'd be perfect for the '90s throwback. But.
Well, no, they could run it at Talladega. I mean, yeah, why not?
True.
They could run it at Talladega. Yeah, they can do that.
Yeah, Kurt Busch ran a couple of Ricky Bobby schemes at Talladega, didn't he? I think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, the me car.
Well, he ran they actually ran the me car. He could have done the Wonder Bread car, but they did their own unique car for it. So.
Well, they did a Wonder Bread car like it.
Yeah, didn't they?
No.
That's when he just
The Wonder Bread car they did was just literally white with a few dots on it. It wasn't anywhere near like what the Ricky
Thank
Bobby
you
was.
for subscribing to Danny B
Really?
Talks.
That
You're going to love it here.
Also, side note, if you're planning on subscribing, maybe wait till after the end, because I have tried everything. I have like unlinked my Streamlabs account to YouTube, and it's still sending alerts. It's not associated on my OBS. I don't know why it keeps coming in. I don't know how to make it stop. So
Double the Danny B. They get to hear you voice over and in the podcast.
It's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, man. Like, we can't hear it, but you can hear it.
I remember a couple months ago, just driving around out here, I saw a minivan painted with the me paint scheme from Talladega Nights, and I almost caused a wreck. I was like, what was it? It's a Honda Odyssey.
Oh, by the way, guys, we have 160 of you guys watching and only 73 likes. So make sure to click the like button, guys.
And going back really quick, because I sort of brought it up as a little segue. Yeah, Barstool Sports is going to be doing a NASCAR show from the Daytona International Speedway for the 500. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I think that's another positive that we.
I love Barstool Sports. I love Barstool Sports, man. Like. I just did a Tony Stork video, so sorry I said Storks and stuff.
You sound like you've been at the Barstool the way you're talking, Darius.
No, but I love Barstool Sports. Sports. Oh my god! No, what is going on? I keep messing up. Oh my god!
Now,
all right, yeah, but
So last year we had John Deere and others. Now we already have Storts.
Yeah, so go ahead and meme that. But yeah, like they're funny. Yeah, they're funny, man. I like the stuff they post on Twitter.
What I want to know, though, and I think I read something that suggested it was this way, with NASCAR announcing that they're spending like up to $20 million on outside advertising, I actually think this Barstool, collaboration, I think it is a part of that.
Yeah, it's one of those.
So it's nice to at least see NASCAR trying something new, and this is a good move because it's kind of Barstool Sports is a younger generation thing. So obviously that's what NASCAR is going for, whether we like it or not. They need to get the new young audience of America interested in racing. And
I like it. I don't really see a problem with it.
Yeah, it's nice to see that they actually are like, they're not just, I want to see where they're going to spend that money, and if they're spending it on something like this, I think it's a good idea because it's probably not that expensive, and I think it could be effective, especially if Corey Lajoie is going to whip out these Old Spice cars like this. That's going to create quite the trend. I don't know, the media trend. I have no idea.
Yeah, I've also seen some stuff of like, BuzzFeed getting involved in NASCAR and all that stuff, and I know some of us have different opinions on that. Yeah, I mean, they have different opinions on them and stuff, but I mean, it's pretty cool to see like the other outlets taking an interest in NASCAR.
Well, and the thing that I find really cool, I forgot where I saw it, but they said that among 18 to 24-year-olds, Barstool is like the most popular sports coverage I don't know, would you just call a media outlet, I guess, in America, which, again, can do nothing but help the sport. And I just have to ask if Barstool Sports is going to be playing any video games. Are they eSports ready? Sorry, man, I had to.
Oh, yeah, I kind of walked into that one.
So, now next question. Is NASCAR a sport?
NASCAR a sport?
Well, you can ask, I wonder what Grade A Under A thinks. Saying after his video this week. Anyone who doesn't know, Grade A Under A, funny channel. There's like 3 million subs or more now. He made a bit of a jab at NASCAR saying it wasn't a sport. For any NASCAR fans who are upset, don't be. Of course, somebody's going to
my gosh, thank you so much for that super chat.
Don't get mad and not watch him anymore because he had one stupid video. I mean, he made the Keemstar video for Christ's sake. So,
super chat. Super chat. Another one.
Yep,
is it a super chat or a super chat?
It comes to us from Hungry Gamer giving $2. Corey Lajoie's face has to be in his fire suit too. That would be awesome.
That probably will. I'd say. I would assume.
I would love to walk up to him and be like, wow, you're getting really into this. You even got a mask of his face. Oh. So, yeah, there's that. That'd be pretty cool. What else we got? I'm trying to think. There's so much stuff we have on here from this week. How about the Gen 7 news?
Oh, my gosh. Yes, for those of you who don't know, the Gen 7 is going to be debuting on in 2021 at the Daytona 500. So.
Well, not for sure. They didn't say for sure. That's what they're aiming for.
Oh, okay. So then maybe 2022 Daytona 500, something like that.
It'll probably be 2021. That's the one good thing is when they make it public like that, it basically puts pressure on themselves. Like now NASCAR has pressure. Yeah. Just ask for it. So it sounds like they're on track for it. And thank you, Sloppy Joe. I'll answer for Danny. Thank you for the super chat on Danny B's behalf.
You gotta read it like Master Kenobi. Well, hello.
Yeah, shout out to Sloppy Man. He's the one who helped us put together the whole Brendan.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it.
Again, note to self: please find a way to kill Streamlabs because I cannot get it to go away at all.
So a question to you guys. So this Gen 7 car, are they planning on doing the same thing like it did with the Xfinity Series? Is it going to be a composite body or not?
I think it is, from what I've heard.
Yeah, from what I've heard, yeah. That's basically it. Yeah.
I think that's the only thing they've really said about it other than, hey, we're going to try and have it out in 2 years, and it's going to have a composite body. That's literally the only thing I've heard them say as far as what we can expect it to look like. I did hear something, I don't remember who said it, whether it was Steve Phelps or Steve O'Donnell, one of those Steves. There's so many Steves at the head of NASCAR. They said that per current manufacturer agreements, I don't think they can have a new engine or new engine rules or whatever it is until 2022. So whatever the Gen 7, however it starts out, it's still going to have the same 900 horsepower engine we have now. They're probably still going to limit it. They've been limiting it down to like 750 for several years now. This year, obviously, they're limiting it even further. So engine-wise, we're not going to have a new engine until like 2022 or 2023. So that was the only other detail. But as far as the car is concerned, we have no idea. And that's what makes it hard to react to. Like, I'm excited. Oh, it's going to be here in 2 years. It means they're really working on it. It means they're taking notes from the last generation, from the new aero package, all that type of stuff. But we don't really know where their head's at as far as what it's going to look like, how the package is going to work. So fingers crossed they make the right decisions. But who knows?
Yeah, another thing I saw, and this was on NASCAR Reddit, and it was this Trans Am car that was like photoshopped into looking like a stock car and stuff. And for some of you who have seen it and stuff, you know what I'm talking about. And whoa, got another.
Whoa! Thank you.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for that super chat.
All right.
I greatly appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much, Motorsport.
So is the
Games.
NASCAR Heat logo really going to be on the car?
So is the NASCAR Heat logo really going to be on the car? Oh, I think I know what he's
Thank
talking
you
about.
for subscribing to Danny B Talks. You're going to
Daniel
love it.
Hemrick.
Daniel Hemrick. So it was so weird because it was like the esports logo or something like that. So I'm not really sure what is up with that one, but that's definitely interesting. But thank you so much for the generosity of Motorsport Games.
No, but back to what I was saying. It was this Trans Am car that was like photoshopped to looking like a stock car and stuff. Had like the spoiler and all that stuff. And the question was, if they announced the Gen 7 car would look like this, how would you feel? I mean, don't get me wrong. It was a nice looking car, but get rid of the splitter and bring back ride height. That's all you have to do.
Thank you. My sentiments
That is all
exactly.
you have to do, man. It's simple. It's so simple.
My sentiments exactly, man, because that's just the way it is. And you look at the Gen 4, I mean, the COT cars were fixed on the ground, but they had this big old splitter in the front with this recess, and the bumper came back out, this whole splitter, side skirts especially, that contributes to a lot of side force that these cars make now. So if we could get a lot of that side force back, that'd be, or not the side force, but if we can, like you said, if we could get these cars off the ground, unseal them, go back to a minimum ride height rule, that's about 80% of the problem right there.
Correct, right. I mean, the car could honestly look it could look very ugly to me and stuff, but if it provides great racing, then I don't really care.
Unpopular opinion here, but I really love two-car tandems, and I'd love to see it come back in somehow.
Shame.
Shame. Oh my god, no, come on, man.
No.
It's all about that pack racing right there. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like two-car tandems, but no, like pack racing is where it's at.
The only thing I liked from the two-car tandems, I shouldn't say the only thing, but the main thing I liked was that they let the drivers talk to each other on the radio. If they could bring that back, but maybe
they should do that for pack racing, man. They should do that now.
that'd be good.
Well, sorry guys, my phone's breaking out on me. I just received there's a flash flood warning, so great for me.
Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
New year, we've after last. Well, this is going to be running a recurring theme. Actually, we haven't really announced yet. Is that the host will have horrible weather every time they host this year. Last year I moved to Antarctica for the week. Danny's going to be getting on to a giant arc in a bit here. I don't know what Darian and Eric have planned, but y'all got to one up us.
I swear, Darian's out there in Nevada. We're gonna be in a podcast and an earthquake's gonna happen. I know it.
There's no earth. No, none of that stuff happens here. Come on now.
You guys get hurricanes in Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, actually, we get dust storms. That's about it. Dust storms. No, that's about it. No, 60's not cold. I'd say like 40, like 30 degrees. That's pretty cold here. That's pretty cold here.
That's shorts weather, man. Anyway, I don't know why my camera's not working, but we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. It'll be fun. Gen 7 coming soon to a track near you.
Fueled by Doritos. Brendan McReynolds was on earlier, so if you want to go back to like the very beginning and see him and stuff, then you can go ahead and do that.
And, unfortunately, you'll miss the first 2 minutes because I was trying to make it work out good on the intro, which also failed, so that's whatever.
And now Darian's gone.
Yeah, but we've recovered nicely. We're almost a whole hour into this thing. Have we teased yet that we have a major announcement to make at the end of this episode?
No, we haven't teased. So,
I figured we have 170 people watching right now. In case any of them are thinking, it's kind of late, I might go sit down, watch something else, do something else. At the end of this episode, we do have a very big announcement for next week's show, so you might want to stay tuned for that. I'll just leave that.
I tell you what, I'm all in for this guy. I think he's going to be a great one for us.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome-tacular. But first, there's a lot of other stuff we got, and we don't have all the time in the world to cover it. So another thing that NASCAR changed to a positive way is its penalty process, including taking wins away.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I remember last year on the podcast, I had said that, I didn't really agree with like taking wins away and stuff, but now I'm basically all for it. I mean, we just have a culture in NASCAR that's just about, like, I don't know, it's just like so much cheating and stuff. And then like for years, fans have been like, pissed and stuff they don't find out until like Wednesday after the race on Sunday. Like, oh yeah, by the way, the winner on Sunday, like he turns out he cheated, so we got to take away your points and stuff like that. But the win still stands, and I don't know. I feel like that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah. No more cucumbered wins.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree on that one.
I'm going to look up something really quick, and I'm curious. I need to find out what races were encumbered last year to find out.
Actually, I have a list somewhere around here. I went back. I got bored and went back on Racing Reference for all the way back to 2004 on different races that have been penalized. So I gotta find where I put that. I know I have it on me,
I'm just gonna look up last year because I'm curious how it would have been different.
I know Harvick had 2 last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, Harvick. What was it?
Vegas and Texas.
Yeah, but he had the illegal spoiler at Texas. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know. There were a lot of interesting ones because Harvick was the only one over that time over the last 10 years that had 2. And then also the only other one that had 2 was Tony Stewart. And all of that is under the SHR banner. So they're a bunch of lying, dirty cheaters. Yeah.
Ooh.
I got to find it. I got to find that list because... Well, when have I ever been one to shy away from...
I know. I'm not a Tony Stewart or Kevin Harvick fan, so yeah, call them cheaters all you want.
Yeah, I'll find that list at some point.
I'm in favor of this rule change. I was especially I kind of like you, Darian. I'm like, I think it'd be good for them to take away the wins, but I don't know that it needed to go that far. But after Texas last year, after Kevin Harvick and a couple other people just turned that race into a complete farce, I think the top 2 finishers were both found to be illegal in that race. Race sucked anyways. I was at that point. I'm like, okay. If we're just gonna show up to the weekend and none of the teams are gonna care about following the rules, like we gotta do something. At that point, line was crossed. So I'm happy that they made this announcement. I'm mainly happy about the whole change to doing all the post race inspection at the racetrack itself immediately after the race. So we're not gonna have to wait till Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll have to wait till 90 minutes after the race is over. So just later Sunday afternoon or Sunday night. That's great. I'm in favor of it.
Well, doesn't F1 already, like, they do that already, don't they?
I have no idea.
I believe they do. Like, if you fail inspection, they just take your win away.
Even local short tracks do that.
Oh, yeah. Local short tracks.
Nothing new.
Time. Yeah, they do that all the time.
The biggest thing NASCAR, they're saying they used to use was, at the end of the race, the fans should know who won or something like that. So that's why they didn't want to take away wins because it was lame for the people that paid to go to the race to find out half a week later that the race wasn't legit. But I think they've kind of bridge the gap. It's like, well, now we're going to let you know an hour after the race, so fans are going to leave knowing who the winner is, whether it's the guy who actually crossed the line first or not. So they've kind of bridged the gap. So that's why I think honestly, this is maybe the best announcement they've made all year long because it shows them, actively listening to the fans, making a change that a lot of people have been requesting. And I think, assuming they do it well, assuming it goes as smoothly and as efficiently as they seem to think it will, I think it's going to be a great rule change.
And also another interesting thing out here at the Vegas sports books, they're not going to pay out on wins until they're confirmed. So let's say you make a bet on your boy Chase Elliott and stuff, and then he fails post race inspection, then unfortunately you don't get paid, bro.
I would be so mad if I'm just like, I got 50 on, let's say, Daytona de Benedetto, and I have this huge payout I'm gonna get, man. And then to find out like 3 hours later, yeah, so he got found with an illegal splitter. So sorry, bro.
No, man.
I'd be so mad because what's his odds of winning? Is like 350 to 1.
Who?
Benedetto. I think it's something like that.
I'd say yeah, they're pretty high up there. And then yeah.
So yeah, I'd win like, because isn't it just like basically you just get whatever that number is times what you bet? So I'd get like $17,000 and then just find out, yeah, no, sorry, buddy.
And it's also going to affect fantasy players on NASCAR Live and stuff, because then they're going to lose points and stuff, you know, for picking that driver. It's like, oh, he won. And then an hour later, he only has like 1 point because he was relegated to the back for failing post-race inspection. So it's going to affect a lot of things. Oh, yeah. Speaking of fantasy leagues, by the way, the NASCAR Weekly Podcast has its own fantasy league. Look up capital NWP Fantasy League. It's the official fantasy league of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Play with some of your favorite YouTubers. Not this off season.
Yeah, I gotta join it after the stream here tonight.
Yeah, I think we have 23, 24 players so far. So.
Yeah, I'll check it really quick here. I'll just read off what YouTubers are on here so far, because that should.
Wait, no, actually, I'll show it. I'll just show it.
Right I got it on me, but yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay, go ahead.
So I mean, like. Darren and I are in there. NASCAR and MDK is in there. Let's see who else we got. I'm just going through. Carnation, Littell are all in there. Yeah. Carnation actually managed to find a comment section even though there wasn't one. Kamikaze's in there. Cody H Gaming is in there. And we got plenty more to go. That again, this is just the first page I see on here. So yeah, currently we have 30 people in, but we'd like a lot more. I'd like to beat a lot more than just 29 others.
Yeah, here's the screen right now. Yeah, here's the screen right now. Just look up NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League, and come join us, man. It's gonna be fun. And there's a list of the players and stuff. So the funny part about this is that Jarrett, he doesn't know how to play though. Like, he's not familiar.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna win. I'm going with Arian here, and I'm just calling my shot way before it actually happens.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't come through. And then it doesn't come through, man. That always happens.
I'll get more than 3 points.
Yeah. By the way, there are playoffs in this though, Jarrett. Unfortunately.
I kind of figured.
Speaking
I play fantasy football.
Speaking of fantasy football, Darian, you feeling all right?
I had to address this on the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they lost. That's right, they did.
I'm surprised that comment went by so easily.
I don't know. It is what it is. They lost the Super Bowl. Yada yada yada. At least they made it. Yada yada yada.
Yada yada yada.
I don't know. I don't know. Like it's this like pain and stuff that I really don't want anyone else to go through. Like I know some of your guys' teams have made like NFC and AFC championship games, but like I'm like, no, you don't get it. You don't know what it's like. They made it to the Super Bowl and they lost. And the worst part is that the game, it was so close the entire time, man. And it was 3-3 for most of that game and stuff. And then all of a sudden they scored and stuff. And I'm like, I'm like, come on, man, we can get it back. But then he throws the pick. Goff throws the interception. And at that point I knew. I was like, yep.
But
it's over.
Well, hey, at least your team has won, and we were just 1 yard short to you.
Yeah, you were about 30,000 yards short this year, buddy.
I was thinking. That we were talking about if there was a new engine or not. NASCAR actually did talk about that as well. Let me see my notes right here. So like, yes, there'll be. Per Bob Pockris, a new engine won't be introduced until 2022 at the earliest. So it is in development, and it's going to be here probably after we get Gen 7. So what's everyone's thoughts on that? Do you think that they're going to push back Gen 7 a little bit to coincide with the new engine, or do you think they're just sort of going to integrate it in?
I think they'll just integrate it in because I think they'll just do what they've been doing, just continue to taper it off to, I don't know, if they think the new engine's going to be around 700 horsepower, that's just what they'll taper the current engine off. I don't really think they're going to, I think they'll just,
they'll just include it in with all that stuff. I really don't think they'll push back the Gen 7 just for that.
The biggest thing will be that that means we definitely aren't going to see a new manufacturer in the Cup Series until 2022 at the earliest, because with NASCAR kind of going away from 900 horsepower engines, they act like that's going to entice new manufacturers, and it sounds like they might be right. There's been rumblings that some people might be interested, but this basically confirms we won't see any new, we won't see any Hondas or BMWs or anybody else joining possibly until at least 2022. Probably even later than that, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now we find out before we hear breaking news. Gotta get back into NASCAR. I'd celebrate that.
There is some other news that come out today we haven't addressed yet. The return of Casey Mears.
That's right.
Kamikaze, where are you?
Yeah, Kamikaze's head is exploding right now.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't heard, Casey Mears is going to be running a second entry for Germain for Germain Motorsports. It's kind of long overdue, seeing how he basically built that team from nothing, and Ty Dillon's kind of sort of brought them back down to earth in a way, I guess. But
the house that Casey built.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm pretty happy about that.
It's also the 27 car as well.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I think he deserves that, and there's still. I mean, it's still going to be an affiliate with Richard Childress Racing, so hopefully it goes better than the last time did that they were affiliated with each other. I mean, they own that at least for how he basically was there. It's kind of like the Regan Smith situation a bit, where it's like he's there from when they're starting parking all the way up into the fact that it wasn't uncommon to see the 13 car running in the top 20 at intermediate tracks and up front at plate tracks. So
the only difference with that is front row actually got better. So it was like, oh, okay. Or I'm sorry. Oh my God, I always get those teams mixed up. Yeah, Furniture Row got better. They got better with that. But unfortunately, Germain Racing, they regressed a ton since then.
Yeah,
I mean,
your whole team is a rookie driver who great in the Truck Xfinity Series is kind of bound to happen.
Right.
It's good to see Casey Mears get another ride. It's worth noting that he isn't locked into the show, so he is going to have to qualify either. I think qualifying for the Daytona 500 is weird. I know they do Daytona 500 qualifying this weekend, but that really only determines first and second place. And then they do the duels. But there's something I think there's 8 drivers right now, maybe 9 going for the final 4 spots that aren't taken up by charters.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, man. It's finally for the first time in a long time, the duels they'll actually mean something, man. I think there's 44 cars entered so far. So
I think so far, yeah.
I agree with that, Gary. And I mean, this is the first time in a long time I remember it's like, dang, there's a lot of cars showing up for Daytona all of a sudden.
Right.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a good thing to see. Yeah, that's definitely a good thing to see. Something to throw out too. Tommy Baldwin is fielding a car, I think, but that's very cool to see Tommy Baldwin coming back. The team that almost won the Daytona 500 in 2012 because of Juan Pablo Montoya's incident with the jet dryer. But
and not just a cup car. They're also running a modified too, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yes, that.
Yeah, and I mean, I just like that the duels actually matter again. That there's more to it than just, hey, look, the same guys won the duels again. Anything else happen? No, now it's, hey, look, there's gonna probably be maybe in one of them, maybe somebody will crash out or engine problems or whatever. But in at least one of the duels, for a fact that coming down to the last few laps, so and so is going to be probably trying to come from the back, and so else is going to be trying to get in front of him. There's going to be that racing that actually matters. And I was just thinking about it, and what if it comes down to 7 or 8 laps, front few people stay out, including one of the people needing to make the show, and you got another person needing to make the show that pits and gets tires, if that's the only pit stop during the race, then you right there, you got high stakes drama right at the end, and it really doesn't matter who won. Because I remember in the older, I rewatched the 2008 duels, being a junior fan, And I remember that they barely covered Dale Jr. winning the race. They're like, someone said, oh yeah, Dale Jr. won the race, but here's the final finish down to the wire, and it was like for 14th.
Well, that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, I mean that's how it's supposed to be. But then, like in recent years, it just like they've sort of lost that touch, I guess.
Yeah.
The duels finally have their exact meaning again. That's what the duels are all about.
Yeah, and also some other entries. Tyler Reddick, the defending Xfinity Series champion, is going to be driving the 31 for RCR. I don't know the sponsor for them. I don't think they've said what the sponsor is yet, but I think the car's black, so there's that. So might be something.
It could possibly be maybe South Point Casinos. Would they maybe be trying to get the 500 like that?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Tyler Reddick, I mean, he sort of has no connection to like South Point and stuff. But
Brendan Gaughan is also trying to qualify. I assume he's probably got.
He's got South Point already and stuff. Like he's got them. But as far as the 31, I'm not really sure who's gonna.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sponsor him.
Probably Bass Pro Shops. They sponsor everybody.
And also another thing to think about is that Tyler Reddick, he is the defending Xfinity Series champion. So I don't know, like you have to expect that he'll probably make like a few more starts this season as well. So.
Side Drafting Productions in the chat says on the entry list it said Symbicorp would be the sponsor. So
we haven't released the entry list yet.
That makes sense. I've been noticing a lot on YouTube an Austin Dillon Symbicorp commercial.
Oh, it's everywhere. It is everywhere.
Yeah. That's
every NASCAR video I click on, it's Austin Dillon telling me about Symbicorp.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of sponsors, Bubba finally got a sponsor for Daytona.
Yay! Aftershock. That's right. He was also
sponsor for Daytona.
He was also on. He was on the Today Show as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did
so that was a surprise.
Did anyone our age actually watch it?
Well, I was already up, so I was like, yeah, I think I'll tune in just to see what he has to say. But yeah.
And was it anything new?
No, not really. It's like, I've been racing since whatever. I'm the first black so-and-so. He's Southern. He's Southern. Yeah, he did.
That's how like that.
Well, that's how he sounds.
Well, he was just playing it up for the. He knew everyone watching wanted him to be like a stereotypical NASCAR driver. He's like, all right, they expect me to sound really Southern. All right, let's go on in there.
Oddly enough, Jarrett, someone in the chat said that the Austin Dillon Symbicorp ad played before this podcast. So.
Of course it did. Of course it did.
So we can't actually thank you, Symbicorp. You're paying my bills.
Yeah, we can't complain too much.
Right.
There's more news on the NASCAR on Fox front again, and it's all good news. So
it's weird. It's weird. NASCAR and has good news and stuff, man. It's odd.
And what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking my theory I was talking about last week might be true, is that NASCAR on Fox last year, of course, they had bad racing to cover, but was sort of sandbagging so that they could do better for this year.
Right.
Like it seemed like they sort of they were making audio mistakes they shouldn't have. They were making little things here or there with the commercials coming back or coming off at certain points, and it's almost it felt like they were putting a little less money in it. But it probably is they probably were putting that towards getting how they got Bob Pockrass and all these other guys, and now they announced both for Race Hub and for the At Track production. So Race Hub, Lindsey Zarniak and Sarah Walsh will be splitting the NASCAR Race Hub coverage for the weekends, and then on top of that, they announced Kevin Harvick will be expanding his broadcasting on Fox this year. By the way, the Lindsey Zarniak news from Jim Utter, this from Adam Stern. That Kevin Harvick will be in the Fox booth alternating with Michael Waltrip as the main analyst for Xfinity races. And then they also announced that they're having new cameras. So let me read it here again from Adam Stern. The Megatrax rail at turn 2 to cover wide shots down the backstretch, as well as an extending arm camera for wide road shots, and touch screens for the booth and 3D graphics to recreate moments. So they're going all in. I think they're up in their game this year.
I'm kind of wondering how our audience feels about the move to put Harvick in more for Michael Waltrip, because our audience seems to love Mikey a lot. So.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Kevin Harvick as a driver, but I will say he's good in the booth. So I like that.
Yeah,
you know,
he's all right.
Yeah,
he's all right. I like him.
He's pretty good in the booth. I
Yeah,
really like him. Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably a move that they needed to do. Fans have been, it seems like overall fans have been really liking Kevin Harvick in the booth more, and it just seems common sense to me at this point.
Is this the start of Fox Sports phasing out the wall trips once and for all? Because they added all these new, names. All the, they got the who came to this? Is it Jamie McMurray's with he's with Fox. They've added Ricky Craven. Is this them saying, all right, Michael, you're going to start to step away, and then maybe in a year, okay, DW, you're like 90. We can maybe have a little talk. Is this the end of the wall trips being the face of NASCAR?
Probably. Face of NASCAR.
A little bit of an exaggeration. The voice of NASCAR. The voices of NASCAR. That's kind of maybe the right way. The chat is freaking out right now. They're just there. They can't handle this.
I love it. Oh, Mikey Waltrip.
I don't know, man. DW owns he owns a lot of car dealerships here in Middle Tennessee, so maybe he's just ready to focus on those.
Hey, he met DW met a Blue Jimmy fan, so he can come commentate for the Corley, I guess.
Boogity, boogity, boogity.
Let's go.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Why is this such a bad game?
Yeah, basically.
I have a question though. Are they gonna do more of the all driver broadcast for the Xfinity Series? Because I remember watching that Pocono race. They had Harvick and Blaney doing that race, and that was some of the most fun broadcasting I think I've seen in a while. Are they planning on doing that again?
Yeah, they probably will. They probably will.
Yeah, I feel like it's been a success the last couple times they've done it. So I would think they'd try to do it again, but who knows?
I always enjoy it when it's on. I'll make sure to watch when I can. But it's something different. And it's I like when they try something different like that. So probably.
Question for you all, and I want to hear some opinions on this one, because it's been a year. It's been a year now since Mrs. Patrick.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it.
Actually.
Super dark. Danica didn't just she's okay. She didn't die.
Sorry, I got distracted by the sounds of. Thank you. You sent a super chat. Earnhardt Fan Productions sent $2, and he said, so he said that. All right, thank you so much. But anyway, so a year ago, Danica Patrick didn't die; she retired. What if? Because I don't really know what she's going to be doing much more for the rest of her career. What if she eventually came back to do some kind of broadcasting role?
I wouldn't mind it. I don't care.
I'd embrace it. I think she'd be a pretty good commentator.
Yeah, I think she did one in the booth once for Fox Sports, and I didn't think she was that bad.
Yeah, there was one in the booth, and then there was another in the Hollywood Hotel. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think she'd be good. I wouldn't want her to do it though. I just feel like there's too much of a bad taste in the typical NASCAR fan's mouth when it comes to Danica Patrick. If she's the one bringing them the race every week, I just think it'll be I don't know.
Negative. It'd be so negative and toxic.
People get so a lot of people act like they're annoyed with Darrell Waltrip, but Darrell Waltrip at the end of the day is one of the top 10 best NASCAR drivers ever, and people get annoyed with him. The moment Danica steps out of line, does anything remotely annoying to somebody, it's going to be off the rails.
She just breathes. She just breathes. Oh my God, I hate Danica.
It's unfair, but I do understand it. I'm probably I'm not a Danica hater by any means, but at the same time, she didn't do well in NASCAR. Kind of off topic, I was actually at a library, don't ask me why, and I saw a book. It was Famous Americans or something like that. It was a children's book, and so I flipped through it, and there had a bunch of sports figures. I got to Danica Patrick had her own page, and this children's book didn't mince words. And the third sentence down in her biography or whatever it was said, she's not having very much success in NASCAR these days, but she's still one of the most recognizable drivers. And I just went, dang, this kid's book is not holding back on Danica.
I just think of this clip. I used to when I hear stuff like that, I think of this clip of Teddy Bridgewater, and they're like, "Why you like this, man? Because I'm a savage." And that's it.
Kids, we're not gonna lie to you.
Well, speaking of both a kid and someone who is a more successful woman driver in NASCAR, Hailie Deegan announced on Twitter her new paint scheme for this year, and man, she has a ton of backing.
It's so nice. That monster scheme, man. Just the black with the monster logo, man. It's so clean. So clean, man.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is very much clear that Monster Energy is almost ready to completely get away from being title sponsor and focus on putting in more talent into the sport.
Yeah.
Right.
I put out a tweet today, and I don't know if you guys
I saw it.
I said,
go ahead, explain.
It's an early prediction. I have no real basis for this, but just the way things are looking, I think that the start of the 2022 season, Hailie Deegan will be announced as the replacement for Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 car. That's my prediction, because you look at it, she's got a year this year in the K&N Series. Maybe we'll even run a one-off truck race or something at some point this year. I think that means she's got 2 more years at that point to spend in the Trucks or Xfinity Series. And the way people are getting rushed to the Cup Series, she'll be like 2021 at that point. I don't know. I think somebody will give her enough money that it's too hard to pass on it. I think Gibbs will be like, sure. Because at that point, I think Denny Hamlin will be gone for Christopher Bell or somebody, or Bell will be at Levine Family Racing. I don't think Jones or Kyle Busch will have gone anywhere. I think Truex at that point will be like 43, 42, I think, 42. I don't know. That's my prediction. What do you guys think?
I think it's bold.
I think that's a pretty good estimate. Hey, we don't know what the status of JGR is going to be at that point, but I will say this, and if y'all haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. Hailie Deegan is a winner of the Summer Showdown from Griff Dog, so y'all should definitely check that out.
Hey, I got that right again. So there's Chase Elliott and there's Hailie Deegan. That's what I'm talking about.
I saw the script.
There was no script. No, chat. That's a bunch of fake news. There was no script.
There was a script that said,
"Pick our picks."
Darian, his line is, "I think Hailie Deegan's gonna win." That was okay. I don't mean to break the movie magic here. I'm sorry.
You know what's so bad? Even on a script, I'm there to support Alex Bowman and be his only fan.
Yeah, no matter what. No, I just thought it was funny. I thought it was funny that like there were actually people who actually thought that I picked her for real. I was like, no, it was in the script. It was in the script, guys.
It was a really good video though, so you guys should all check it out for sure.
Going back though to Hailie Deegan, I will go ahead and say I do disagree, and simply for the fact of her dad's influence on her career.
Oh, I was about to say her dad has said that he wants her in the Xfinity Series when she's like 20 years old. Anything before that is rushing. So
yeah,
I don't know, but the money could just be there. I mean, she's got Monster Energy backing her. She's got Toyota backing her. That's big money.
And she's in the K&N Series with those, where it's like, and they've been with her. Monster's been with her family well before this, so it's like it's not like she's had stability for a while to do what she's needed to do. And I don't see with her father basically sort of being. I don't know if he's the official agent or unofficial agent of her career at this point, but with his influence on her career and how, he sort of helped her steer, her career steer in a direction. I don't see him being like, well, okay, well, now we got money. Cause I mean, he's got plenty of money.
Sure.
That whole family has plenty of money. And I really don't see Hailie Deegan or that family being the type that would rush her up there. I think she will be up there when that entire sort of Deegan when the entire Deegan family sort of looks at it and comes together and be like, okay, now you're ready. Because I don't think at this point, if they have a say in it, NASCAR as a sanctioning body wants her forced up there early, because she has the makings of being the next great superstar of the sport. Like the way it's been looking. I mean, she's known by people outside the sport to a degree only seen really by a current driver like Chase Elliott. I mean, being on different shows and different interviews on news networks. So I don't see them taking any chances with her career right now.
Well, really since Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s debut in the Cup Series in '99, I don't think we've had a more anticipated, more of an anticipated debut than Hailie Deegan's in the Cup Series. I don't know, and at least in recent memory.
Yeah,
I could think of.
I'd put maybe Chase Elliott in there, but I don't even know about that. You're right. Haley Deegan's probably higher anticipation just because I feel like there's been a longer buildup. And assuming it's still another 4 years or so until we see her in a Cup car, it'll be an even bigger, a larger buildup. And I'm just saying, 2022, that's 3 full years between now and then. That's a full year in K&N, and then that's 2 years. I mean, the thing is, like Eric Jones, year in trucks, year in Xfinity, Cup. Suarez, year in trucks, year in goes to the Cup. Or actually, no, he was 2 years in Xfinity. I don't think he really did much in the trucks. I don't know if he ever did a full-time season in the trucks. William Byron, that same way. That's how he did it. Chase Elliott, did he spend 2 years in Xfinity, or did he only spend 1?
He spent 2 years in Xfinity.
Okay, he did spend 2. So maybe it'll be 2023. I just look at this day and age, like Daniel Suarez is in the Cup Series because he had to be there at that time. At some point, Joe Gibbs Racing especially has the least number of available openings, it seems, over the next few years. When one becomes available, I just think it's going to be like you can't wait a year. You got to go get it when it's there. So I don't know. Could be later. There's no guarantee she'll even stay with Toyota because they already have to find a spot for Christopher Bell. So I have no idea.
With that being said. With that being said, though, you do have some people like Bubba Wallace who feels like spent like 10 years and going back and forth between trucks and Xfinity Series. So,
yeah. Let's see. Geez, there's a lot of stuff that's been going on this week.
You're doing a great job managing it, Jarrett. You're driving the show right now.
Great job, manager.
Oh yeah, the Hall of Fame ceremony. We haven't talked about that.
I don't have the list on me at the moment.
Jeff Gordon, Alan Kowicki, Davey Allison. Hold on.
Roger Penske and Jack Rouse.
Roger Penske and Jack Rouse. There you go.
Yep. Okay. So I'd say all of them are pretty deserving. I think we talked about this last year too a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, Gordon. I mean, that was the first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt. And personally, I think Tony Stewart, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer next year. I think he's eligible, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was going to pull up the list of eligible drivers. It'll be fun.
I think I put it in our chat, didn't I?
You might have. I don't know if I can go back and find it though.
I think Tony needs to be inducted. Absolutely, because not only is he a championship driver, he's a championship team owner. So, I mean, he absolutely deserves to go into it.
I think he'll be first ballot. The way it works, isn't it? Every year they look at the group that's eligible, and then they pick. You have to pick 5. You can't just it's not like baseball where you vote and like if you get 75%
you vote. No, they vote in NASCAR.
Yeah, they vote, but I'm saying like in baseball, you might have 100 people eligible. And 100 people could make it in that year if all of them get 75% vote. In NASCAR, I think you literally look at like the 25 people that are eligible, and you have to settle on only 5 can make it in. So if I don't know, if say Jimmy Johnson, David Pearson, Dale Earnhardt were, and like Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart were on the ballot, Kyle Busch probably wouldn't get in that year. You know what I'm saying? Because he's 6. He'd probably get in the next year. But I was going to look up the list for next season so we can maybe debate that.
Here's a quick question for you guys, because either way, I think Tony Stewart is a Hall of Famer no matter what, whether he goes in this year or later. Who would you want to see induct him? Because personally, and this is just my opinion on this one, I think I would want to see actually maybe Newman induct him, because that was the first guy to join him when he stepped into the role of being a team owner. I don't know. It'd be
AJ Foyt. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say.
It's like a no-brainer,
Maybe him, or maybe even Joe Gibbs even.
Ryan Newman and Tony Stewart seem to not end on the nicest of terms.
So I don't think
that's true, but I don't know.
I put the list in the chat. Of ones that are eligible.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a off a left base. What about I kind of like to see Bobby Labonte make it. Terry Labonte's in it. I'd like to see Bobby Labonte get inducted too.
Bobby Labonte will be eligible next year.
Yeah, Bobby Labonte, his career is so underrated. Mostly because in his final years he was really bad, so people forget about his championship and his impressive runs with Joe Gibbs Racing portion of his career. So yeah, I'd like to see him get in. So who are the
I put it in our Twitter chat.
Was Biffle and Edwards also put into that list?
Yeah, here I can read it off really quick for the people at home. I know it's 20 names, but people that are eligible for Hall of Fame this next year: Tony Stewart, Buddy Baker, Red Farmer, Ray Fox, Harry Gant, Joe Gibbs, Carl Edwards, John Holman, Harry Hyde, Greg Biffle, Bobby Labonte, Herschel McGriff, Ralph Moody, Jack Sprague. I don't know how you pronounce it. Sprague. Okay. Larry Phillips, Sam Ard, Ricky Rudd, Kirk
Shelmerdine.
Yeah. Mike Stefanik, and Smokey Unick. That's the list right there.
Oh, I already put my list on Twitter, so I have it here.
If I can pick my 5 right now, I would do Stewart, Baker, gosh, I can't even remember who the other ones were now.
There's a lot on there. So one of the questions: do you guys think Greg Biffle is a Hall of Famer?
No.
No, he won in the Truck Series and Xfinity Series championships on top of having a pretty good career.
Well, actually, hold on. Let me re-answer that. Yes, because NASCAR's Hall of Fame is so inclusive. So, yeah, technically, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer. You can put him in there.
Yeah,
I think he is too. I just don't think he gets it next year.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you, Eric. I think he is a Hall of Famer because people, you would talk about Labonte. Biffle's another underrated career. I remember there, I think it was like the 2010 season. He won quite a few races that year too. Or 2009 or 2010, he won a fair amount, and there, he had several years where he was just such a good car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, and Xfinity championship, well, a Busch championship, and a Craftsman Truck championship to boot with that. Like, yeah, I'd say he's a Hall of Famer.
That's super chat there.
I don't think he'll make it in next year though, but that's just
From the other.
Oh my gosh! Thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate
the
it.
other White Castle donated $2. He'll be at the Clash Sunday. Are you guys excited for it? I am excited for it because it's just NASCAR period, so we're looking forward to it. And I think, maybe that's a good segue. Do we have any picks for the Clash?
Well, really quick, I wanted to put in my 5 for the Hall, really quick. So I'd put in Tony Stewart, Smokey Unick, Buddy Baker, Sam Ard, and Kirk Shelmerdine for his crew chiefing. That a lot of people are probably thinking, Kirk Shelmerdine, wasn't he the guy that finished 40th every time he raced? Yes, but he was a really good crew chief too and won championships. And I'm pretty sure I want to see how many races he won, but I'm pretty sure it was like 49 races he won on 2 or 3 championships.
And if he would have stayed, I think Senior probably would have won maybe 8 titles if he would have stayed as crew chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 3 I know for sure I'd put in Tony Stewart, Buddy Baker, and who's the one on this list? Bobby Labonte. I would have him in there as well. Those 3 I'm pretty confident. At that point, I don't know. Joe Gibbs, probably I wouldn't put him in yet. Carl Edwards is eligible next year. I don't think I'd put him in yet either. I'd let him wait a year, maybe sweat a little bit, and then I'd put him in. But
here's one of my picks. I think he's eligible and stuff. I mean, he was an underfooted guy, but like JD McDuffie, I would love to see him in the Hall of Fame though. I don't know if you guys will agree with me on that and stuff, but I mean, the guy, he was very persistent. He made 600 plus starts. Like, yeah, he never won, and I don't think he ever finished on the lead lap once, but I mean, that's such a feel-good story,
Really making a case for him.
Cool. I mean, I don't know. I can't even talk. But I don't know. I'm just like, I know. Like, I'm just thinking of like how many things to think and stuff. But
he's getting really excited.
It would just be really cool to.
The Patriots defense managed to shut down Darian's mouth.
I don't know what's going on tonight.
One name that jumps out at me is Mike Stefanik, and a lot of you guys may not know Mike Stefanik, but he is a modified driver up here in New England, and he is a legend here locally. I don't think he's made any like Cup level, Busch level starts, but he is on the same level as like Teddy Christopher was, and unfortunately we lost Teddy Christopher a little ways back. So, but that's just one name that jumps out at me. But as far as what you guys are saying, the Carl Edwards, Bobby Labonte, I can agree with that. Buddy Baker, I think, would be another really good one to add to the Hall.
I'm surprised how many people aren't picking Smokey Unick, especially with how much
he drove the 13, right? He drove like that 13.
Well, he's such a pioneer in the engineering of the sport, and
he probably.
And this doesn't count as my cussing. He had the best damn garage in town, so that doesn't count as my cussing because it's quoting a name.
That's okay.
It's not a cuss word; it's mild language, according to the FCC.
Rated T for teen.
Rated T for teen.
What about Sam Ard? Sam Ard. That seems like a guy.
I picked him too. He should be in there. That's the thing is like now we're like the first few it was like, well, yeah, the original two Frances are going to be. Ooh, here's one to do later is Brian France going to be in there. Anyway, so the two Frances we knew, Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, like and all like the first one or two we knew. This I feel like is where it gets more interesting because it's sort of it gets the gap between who's the best that'll be in the like ballot versus sort of the worst is getting closer together. So it's a lot harder to make these picks and be definitive because I'm pretty sure we all knew, like everyone picked the first five. Like everyone knew who the first five in the hall were going to be. But it's like once the more and more you get down, it's like, oh, I don't know who it's going to be this time. Like more than likely Joe Gibbs will be in next year. Tony Stewart, yes. But then from there, it's like, what ones do you pick? Because the people picking it are more historians of the sport. But then you have also probably some fan pressure too. I don't know. It just makes the whole process a lot more interesting.
Yeah, so I'll make my picks right now. Joe Gibbs, Tony Stewart, Harry Gant. I would definitely like to see JD McDuffie in there, and how do you say his name? Smokey Unick. Yeah, like him. Those are my five, but that's just me.
All right,
so at that we can move over to the Clash picks if you want, Danny.
Let's do it. So if you're it's been a little bit since we did this, so here's how we break it down. We do a who's gonna suck pick, who our underdog is, and who we think is gonna win. So starting off with who's gonna suck in the Clash, my pick is gonna be McMurray in that oddball 40 car.
I'm trying to remember who else is in the Clash because I want to make sure no big names are out of it. I think
anyone who made the chase or playoffs last year is in it.
Oh yeah, sure. I'm gonna say Kyle Larson's my gonna suck pick. He doesn't seem to ever have any luck at restrictor plate tracks. I don't know. That's the easy one for me. I just don't think Larson's gonna have it.
Damn, nobody's picked Johnson yet. I mean, Johnson's wrecked in like 9 straight Clashes, man. So yeah, Johnson, that's a no-brainer. It's gonna make it 10 in a row, man.
The difference between those 9 races and this race is the sponsor on the car. I think that Lowe's had just had a target on its back.
See, I'm one that's gonna be doing a little throwback here because I feel like after this guy manages to be in another crash at a plate track, they're gonna go Newman. Ryan Newman. He's gonna crash again. He's gonna suck this week.
Yeah, I could agree with that because Newman's going over to that 6 car. I don't think that 6 car's had the greatest of luck at Daytona. I mean, Stenhouse has been doing it, the past couple of years, but that 6 car has been real lackluster.
Yeah, he's been wrecking everyone the entire film. Stenhouse.
Yeah,
he's been doing it. He's been doing it all right.
So
there's my suck pick.
Okay, that answers my question. Okay, so underdog. I'm gonna go with my boy Alex Bowman. He got the pole in the Daytona 500 a year ago, which is how he got his eligibility for this one. And definitely could see him being an underdog to maybe pull out a win in it.
I'm going with good old Jamie McMurray. Like every time, whenever he has a bad season or a good season, no matter what, he shows up to the biggest races. Like every single time he shows up.
Like the Clash? Okay.
Well, I mean, I like, the Clash isn't as big and stuff like that,
Second biggest race of the year for McMurray.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, exactly. So I mean, McMurray's doing the Clash, the duels, and Daytona, so might as well go out big with a good speed week. So let's say McMurray's my underdog.
McMurray's not a bad pick, but I'm going to stick with Ford as really my top picks across the board after they dominated Talladega. Maybe a different body this year with the Mustang, but it's still the same Roush Yates engines that's been dominating these restrictor plate tracks for like a decade now. My underdog pick, Daniel Suarez. I don't even know how he made it in this race. I guess he won a pole award last year at some point.
Pocono.
Pocono. That's right. But I think he is. I think he's my underdog pick. He's right now, and people who watch my videos frequently will know that he is currently my Daytona 500 pick. But I reserve the right to change that pick after I see how the Clash plays out. But Suarez, he's my underdog for the Clash. I think he's gonna have some speed for sure.
He's not my underdog pick. But I just forgot. Hey, Paul Menard's eligible. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Is he? Oh gosh.
Yeah. He won the pole at Chicagoland.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. He did.
I'm gonna be an original. Yeah, he didn't last so long. I'm gonna be a little unoriginal, and I'll go with McMurray too as the underdog. And the only reason I say underdog and not like, oh, he's going to be great, he might win kind of thing, is because he really has fallen off at the plate tracks the last few years. But he still is a very talented plate racer. He shows up once in a blue moon, and it's once in a blue moon. I think McMurray will be up there and a competitor. Only real fans here know what that reference is.
Yeah.
I have multiple references, actually.
I kind of have to agree. And I mean, McMurray is just, he's the underdog to me. And he's always been that way to me. I mean, I don't know if we can really consider him underdog anymore, because a lot of people pick him whenever it comes to a plate track. People always pick him. But, McMurray is still always going to be, maybe it's just me personally, but McMurray will always be probably my favorite underdog, because he's just, he's just really good at the restrictor plates. He's just one of those guys that as soon as he came into the sport, it clicked for him. May not have been good anywhere else initially. I mean, he won his second cup race, but for most of the time, he plate races, he's usually up there. So I gotta agree with the McMurray one.
Right.
All right, very good. So yes, who will win? My thoughts on this one, very similar to Dale Jr. in 2008. He was doing so bad for so long, and came back, new sponsor, won the then Bud Shootout, and I'm thinking that you can only keep this guy down for so long, and Jimmy Johnson's going to start off well by winning the Clash.
If he does win the Clash, it'll be probably his only win of the season in my book. That would be great. I'm sticking with my theme, Ford. Fords are going to dominate this race. Eric Almirola is my pick for the Clash. Should have won. I shouldn't say should have. I don't like what people say. They should have won because of this, but had a very good chance of winning the Daytona 500 a year ago. Obviously won at Talladega, the most recent plate track. I think that team is going to continue to ride momentum into this year. I think Eric Almirola will win the Clash.
I don't know. It was a toss-up between Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney, but I'm gonna go with the safer pick here. Keselowski, man, he's the plate king, man. It's so hard to beat him at these tracks, at these plate tracks. So I'm not gonna go against the best here. So Keselowski's gonna make it 2 in a row.
It's hard to beat him unless you're his teammate, like Joey Logano. Joey Logano is the one that I can't believe. I can't believe when you had the two Penske cars. You're like, I don't know. It's tough to pick between Keselowski and Blaney. Well, Blaney's unproven. Come on, man.
Blaney Logano almost won last year. He almost won last year. Oh, but Joey Logano was running up there too.
Logano was ahead of him. Joey Logano also is one of the best plate racers out there nowadays. He's right up there with Keselowski. And I still think that having a great spotter at the plate tracks, it's a premium. It comes at a premium. And he's got TJ Major still, for what I can tell, who is the best spotter when it comes to plate tracks. Like, if you look at how he used to spot back in 2008, it sort of changed how other spotters were with their game at plate tracks. And I think that'll come in handy. But I don't think it'll come too much in handy with him having to tell people what they're doing up front, because I think Logano is going to dominate this race.
Interesting. Yeah, I may get a lukewarm response or a reaction out of this one. Not going with a Ford. I feel like I just have this itch. I have this little itch in me that tells me that Denny Hamlin's going to win this Clash. I feel like he's going to try and come out of here like he's running down the road with his hair on fire after a winless season. I feel like I just have this itch, and I'm not even a fan of his, but he is good in the Clash. He's good in Daytona Speed Weeks. He's proven that recently. I feel like just with the combination of last year didn't go the way that he wanted to. I think he's going to want to set fire on this season early. I just have this itch that I think Hamlin's probably going to get the Clash.
He's got a lot to prove this year. I mean, he's trying to save his job. He is.
Another big question I think we could probably take out of this is, of our picks, who's probably the most likely to be the first to pull off the clean sweep? Like, no one has ever won the Clash, Duels, and 500 in the same weekend. There's been plenty that have won the Duels and 500, plenty that won the Clash and 500, or the Clash and the Duels, but never all three.
Of our picks, I think Logano.
I'm going to get
Keselowski.
I'm going to say Brad on that one.
Yeah, Keselowski as well.
See,
so we
if
think
I had
Penske, okay.
if I had to think, like the three for sure that would come down to if it were for all three races would be the two Penske cars and Hamlin, because they're the three best plate racers. It's hard to pick though, because again, I pick Logano for it, but I don't. Logano really,
Then again,
it's always second fiddle on the duels.
Then again, Johnson's a 2-time Daytona 500 winner, so.
Again, how many times though has he crashed in that time between those?
Yeah.
It's very. I mean, I don't see anyone other than those three being able to pull it off.
Hamlin was close a couple years ago to doing that, wasn't he?
2014, I think he finished second that year, and then who have been the last few that have won the Clash and duels? Because I know it was Hamlin did in 14, Junior did in 08. Who else has though? It's tough to even win two of the three.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't Kurt Busch do that in 2011?
Did he?
I don't know.
Yeah, he won the shootout.
He won the shootout.
Yeah, I think he won one of the Clash races, I believe.
One of the duels.
Yeah, and then I know
or duels race. Yeah, duels.
I know that Dale Jr. won the duels in 500 back in 04, but he finished second Clash.
Dale Jarrett won, I think, the duel in the 500 in 2000, I think it was.
Yeah.
Or he won the shootout in a duel.
Harvick 2013. That's what the chat's saying.
You know,
it's such a boring speed week, so it's forgetting that one.
Yeah.
You know,
I know Kenseth won a duel in the 500 in 2012.
Yeah. That's right.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
We didn't pick him for anything, but I will be interested how Chase Elliott does, because he's won 2 duels in back-to-back years, so I'll be interested to see how he does.
I think he'll win the pole too, but it's gonna be. I think it'll be the same old song and dance as the last 2 years for him.
Should we make our poll picks as well?
As well.
Oh, for the 500?
Yeah.
Chase Elliott's mine. The Hendrick cars are always fast in qualifying, and Chase Elliott seems to be the best Hendrick driver and car out there right now. So I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
I'm also going to make a Hendrick pick, and I'm going to say that Bowman does it 2 years in a row.
I knew it.
No, I agree with you though, Jared. I think Hendrick. I feel good with Hendrick. I do feel good with Ford and pretty much everywhere else, like every other aspect of these races. But yeah, Hendrick seems to have something figured out. But I'm going to go with Chase. I think Chase Elliott's the best Hendrick car right now, best crew chief right there. So
I'm going to go outside the box here. It's still Hendrick, but I think Byron can get it.
Ooh.
I thought Byron because he's got Chad Knaus.
Chad Knaus and stuff. Yeah. So there's. I feel like they got something cooking there. So yeah, I'm going to take William Byron for the Daytona 500 pole pick.
Yeah, my heart says Chase Elliott. I'm a Chase Elliott fan, and he's given me every reason to believe otherwise. But I kind of have to, especially after the most previous Talladega race. I forget who it was for Stewart that sat on the pole, but I think maybe outside the box a little bit. I want to say that Boyer's probably going to get the pole, just a little bit outside the box there, but sticking with Stewart Haas and Ford.
One thing I'm noticing in the chat is that people are saying Hemrick. Like I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, why? Because he's driving the 8
Oh
or
my
something
gosh! Thank
like
you
that?
so much for that
I don't
super
know,
chat.
but
I greatly
just saw that in
appreciate
the chat.
it.
And,
Okay.
super chat.
All I
super
can
chat.
say is wow, because wow donated $2, and 500 pole qualifying is
Always rigged.
Yes,
debatable.
I will say this. It seems like there's always been a storyline for the Daytona 500 pole. I want to go through quite a few that really stick out my mind. 2011, 10 years after we lost Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jr. won the pole award. 2013
Danica.
13
it was Danica. 2014 it was the 3 car of Austin Dillon.
2015 Jeff Gordon.
2015 Jeff Gordon.
That'd be his last season.
I don't remember who it was in 2016. Do you guys?
Chase, I think it was.
Yeah, Chase.
Yep.
Chase
As a rookie.
Chase's first season as a rookie. 2017, Chase again in 2017.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
2018, the first year after Dale Jr. leaves, is Alex Bowman. So I will say, it always seems like there is a big storyline to it.
So Byron's gonna get it. Byron's gonna get it.
it's the NASCAR.
But my
Polo
thing
Award
about
turning
that-
the frogs gay.
I lean
whole-
towards Elliott for that reason.
Yeah, my whole thing about that though is you have to break that down. You do. You've got to break that down. Everyone says it's rigged, but take a look at it. 2013 was Danica Patrick, Chevrolet. 2014 Austin Dillon, Chevrolet. 2015 Jeff Gordon, Chevrolet. Chase Elliott the next 2 years, Chevrolet,
Yep.
and Chevrolet. So
There you go. That's true.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. I think of the past 10 years, I think only once or twice it was a Ford. I think Edwards won a pole once, but it's been Chevrolet.
Let's see,
That's a good
2012.
point.
I will
Because
say,
I want to see that.
I will say this. There's one that sticks out in my mind. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. That didn't really seem like it had any kind of storyline to it at all. Let's see.
Edwards in 2012. That was the last time a Chevy didn't win the pole.
There you go.
Also, I think
Jeez.
2009 DEI's last year. Truex got the pole for that one.
Well, they really didn't know it was going to be their
Yeah,
last
they
year.
didn't know.
Oh, speaking of remnants of DEI, so came out today from Bob Pockris that Kerry Earnhardt can't trademark the Earnhardt collection for now, but he can use the name. And like I mean, and another thing too with the Earnhardts is that the Kannapolis Intimidators are changing their name, and they beat around the bush about, well, it's changing demographics and different fans, and Teresa Earnhardt owns the name Intimidator. So the Wicked Witch of the South is
She's so evil. She's so
I think-
evil. My gosh.
Wicked Witch of the South, I think it fits it best, and yeah, it really is a shame that what she's done with with Carrie and the Earnhardt collection. And from what I understand, contracts too, the way that Junior's contract was written, that the reason why we call it JR Motorsports is because he could not use the term Junior. It was in his contract, and Teresa would not let that go.
Wow.
Just imagine you're a grown ass man, and yeah, I cuss, so oh well. You're a grown ass man, and you want to do something that's like it's a business, and you want to use your very own family name, and then your freaking stepmother says, nope, can't do that. I own the freaking. Oh my gosh, that's so crappy, man.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Going back to a weird Daytona qualifying, here's one. And granted, this is the front two was set in qualifying, but the rest of it's all just from the duels and stuff. So I want to go through the top 10 starting positions during the 2007 Daytona 500. On the pole, David Gilliland driving the 38 M&M's car.
I remember that.
Iconic.
Second, Ricky Rudd in the 88 Snickers car. Then third, we had David Stremme, Juan Pablo Montoya, David Reagan, Boris Said, Jeff Gordon, Sterling Marlin, Johnny Sauter, and Jimmy Johnson. That was the top 10 starting positions for the 2007 500.
Jeez.
Yeah, David Gilliland, he had a great car during that speedway, so I remember that.
He had a great late racing qualifying cars in general that year. He tied Jeff Gordon for the pole at Talladega.
But he had to start second because
Yeah,
Gordon was
I remember.
higher points.
Yeah. It's a
Yes.
tie.
Yeah,
I can't-
and Spotter was like, it's a damn tie. Dang it.
And I think that was back in the time, because before, when Chevrolet and before Hendrick and RCR took over the qualifying for the 500, I remember watching qualifying back in the early to mid 2000, and it was always the Robert Yates cars always on the front row at Daytona, and it was all the time. So that was at the time where I think it was at the time where they were starting to dwindle down a little bit, but they were still making those amazing plate engines.
Yeah. So let's see. There's still a ton of stuff we gotta get through really quick. David Hoots, his final race will be the 2019 Daytona 500. So it'll be the last time we get to hear "Put it out, put it out, put it out."
All right, guys,
Put it out.
put out those F's in the chat.
Yeah, put them all out for us, please.
That's
Well,
right.
for David.
I wonder who his replacement will be. Obviously,
it's
he'll never top him, but
There's 3 different people they're having. I think they've said.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple different people that are going to be doing it. I wonder if they'll also say put it out to continue the tradition, or if they'll feel like they're stepping on his territory.
Probably stepping on his territory.
Well, what else are they going to say? Like, throw the caution. Like, that's harder to say.
Caution. Just say caution's out. That's it.
David Who's going to pull a Teresa and sue if they say put it out.
Oh, my goodness.
He's going to be listening to his little scanner, like, at home. Just, better not say it. Better not.
Put it out. Oh, why?
Nope, that's trademark.
Yeah, that's trademark.
Also, DC Solar filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So, Darian, is there anyone you know that might have been affected by loss of money there?
Oh,
Maybe a certain track.
Yikes.
Good old Vegas, Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Big yikes in the chat there.
Yeah.
Yeah, reportedly, DC Solar left Ganassi like $4 million. They just didn't pay him like $4 million that they owed. A bunch of tracks, like $700,000 for a lot of tracks, advertising that I guess they're not going to get, or I don't know if they're going to get all that money back.
I believe it was $450,000 for Vegas.
Might have been less. Some of them were less, but I know there's at least a couple that were like ISM was near $1 million. Like it was overall, I think it was $11 million total that they owed people that I guess they're not going to be able to. I guess they're not going to be able to pay back. I don't know how it works exactly.
Looking back, it was too good to be true for Vegas that weekend because you had the DC Solar 300, then Ross Chastain wins. It's a perfect PR. It's a perfect PR day for the Speedway and the sport, and then months later,
In the chat, they're saying real MDCS says they owed Kansas Speedway $750K, and Fueled by Doritos says $750K for Vegas.
Wow.
And that's just all for billboards and stuff, ain't it?
Yeah.
I guess on the track. But I guess we can understand now why DC Solar closed their Xfinity team. Like, to make up $4 million of sponsorship just like a month before the season, that's got to be tough. Like, that's got to be really tough to do. That's like a full season practically.
And this is just cup teams and tracks. This isn't counting the dirt track teams that they sponsored, and I think the IndyCar that they sponsored. I mean,
they sponsored dirt track
everywhere.
teams?
Yeah,
Yep.
like Kyle Larson's dirt track team.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. They also NASCAR. Here's two other changes. I'm just trying to couple these together at this point. So, qualifying is trimmed to 15 minutes or something like that. Like they got
10
trimmed.
minutes. It's 10 minutes for the first round, and then 10 minutes, and then 5 minutes for the other two rounds. So just the first round being trimmed.
So they're probably trying to fit it in more with TV time slots, is what I'm thinking. Which, sure, I don't watch qualifying anyway.
Yeah, and drafting with this package and qualifying, it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
And then Bob Hock's reported. Oh, sorry, my bad. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, most of the time during qualifying and session one anyways, you got cars that sit on pit road for 15 minutes. So what do you need those 15 minutes for?
Okay.
Might as well just trim the fat off.
Exactly.
And then Bob Pockrass reported recently that teams in all of the top series will be given an option to get tow straps if they're undamaged and stuck in the grass, and they'll be towed off onto the apron to refire because if we all can remember some of NASCAR's more dumb rules, I'll just put it like that. If you get out of the car, you're done for the day. So that's a way, so if you have to get towed out of the grass, even if you have no damage, you're done for the day. That's now changing.
Okay.
It's probably. I mean, there hasn't been a problem with that so far. So it's probably Jim France going, yeah, for as long as we have this rule in place, we need to get ahead of this before it becomes bad. Before we have to go Ken's at 2017. Yeah, 2017.
With the ambulance?
17, yeah.
Or no, with
the pit stuff. Before we have a rule that,
too many men over the wall, costing him a playoff spot practically. That was a little much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, one more announcement before we get done here because we are getting close. Make sure you lick the like button. Also, very sad to say the man who invented the Hans device, he sadly passed away today.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
His legacy will be every driver you see getting out of a car alive.
Mm-hmm.
So,
It's done a lot for motorsports and stuff, man. Not just NASCAR, IndyCar, F1, all those sports and stuff, man. Saving a lot of lives with the Hans device. So.
And then before we sign off and have our big announcement, big rumor. I saw that Eric made a video about this today. Possible reduction to a 28 race season. Now, of course, it's a rumor. Not set in stone.
Yeah.
But maybe Eric.
Big if true.
Start off with that one.
Yeah, Steve Phelps. It was a rumor. I saw a report. I think Adam Stern actually reported on this rumor, and he was like one of the most high-profile guys who reported on it. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's legit. But then I also read that Steve Phelps, president of NASCAR, when asked about that possibility of reducing the schedule, he reminded us that, contracts, they can't really do any major schedule changes until 2021. But he did say that in 2021, he doesn't expect us to have more races than we have now, obviously. But he also sounded, the way he said it was, he was not sure that we were going to have any less races in 2021. So we could still have 36 races the next few years. So the odds of them dropping all of a sudden down to 28, just like that.
I could see 32 or 30, not really 28 right now.
Eventually, I don't know. I think it would have to be done over time. I think they'd maybe do like 34 for a year or two, then 32 for a year or two, and then maybe drop it to 30. But I've said that I think 32 is the perfect number, in my opinion. But obviously, times will change. Who knows?
See, I'm in the minority here. I actually really like 28. I think a few months back, I'd said 24 to 28 was my preferred where they should go. And I do have a reasoning for it. It's not because I hate racing. Again, when 12-year-old me would think that my thinking right now is foreign with this. Here is why, because again, I was one of the people when there was a rumor, I think in 2009, that it was going to go to 38. I was like, yes, please. But I think if you're looking from a race fan's perspective of more racing, obviously this would not be a good move in that perspective. But if you're looking at the health of the sport here, NASCAR seems to be downsizing, but not just that, is the off season is entirely too short. 2.5 months is way too short, and not for the hardcore racing fan, but more just for the sport in general. I know when I talk to people who aren't racing fans, and I'm like, yeah, Daytona is in 2 weeks or a week or whatever. They're like, it's already back. Didn't they just end? And it's like, well, yeah. If it goes down to 28, more than likely it would end around middle of September, maybe end of September, because I don't think they're going to, if they add a bunch of bye weeks, all that does, at least from what years past has shown, when there's bye weeks, it just messes up the ratings and makes those go down.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to do that. What I think is they'd probably end around the third week of September, which I don't think would be a bad thing, because then you've got
time for football and stuff.
Well, football's already started, but football hadn't completely heated up. There's not as steep of a fall because of how much the ratings have been down, but there still is a pretty steep fall once football starts up in the TV ratings, and it picks up for the last 2 races of the year. I think it'd be a good way for NASCAR to keep up the momentum. You're out of the way, 1, before football starts up, but 2, also, and this is really important, is you're out before baseball playoffs start, because those still draw in huge ratings, and you're going to be out of the way of one of your partners. What do you call it? One of their broadcasts with baseball, because Fox Sports is really big with that. So you'd probably please them without having such a ratings pull into another one. And then you have half of September, October, November, December, January, half of February. So you've got 5 months of an off season. That is enough time to gain a lot of hype. It's enough time for people. You can't hear drivers on a 28 race schedule go, it's too much to just have only 1 or 2 bye weeks. It's that seems pretty fitting. And I just think that altogether, with where NASCAR's at, this would be a really great change. If they announced tomorrow that they were going to slowly downgrade down to 28 races, I would be ecstatic, because I think that the long-term benefits the sport would get would much outweigh the short-term losses.
I kind of agree with that, and what I would suggest is 1 track, 1 race a year. Some races I would be okay with keeping 2. I'd be okay with 2 Daytonas, 2 Bristols, maybe keeping the 2 road courses. And looking at it from a logistical standpoint too, if kind of like the same thing that they did with Darlington or New Hampshire Auto Club. Okay, well, now you've got 2 races there. People are going to show up to either one or the other. They're going to have their favorite. Now you're down to 1. So you kind of have to go to that one. You're going to fill the stands. And I guess it worked in New Hampshire. It worked at Darlington, especially putting it back on its Labor Day weekend. So what you want to do is give them 1 race, and it fills the stands. And then all of a sudden people are saying, oh man, well, the stands are full again. We won't hear complaints about stands being half full because you've got 2 races. So I think that's just kind of add on with that schedule change.
Yeah, I think y'all make really good points, honestly. And I think the idea of, I still don't love 28. I'd settle for 30 if it kind of was a more gradual thing that happened over a few years. Suddenly chopping it off 1 year into the next would be jarring for sure. But if they made it gradual, I'd be all for it. I think a lot of the reasons you guys are saying make a lot of sense. Another argument I've heard for shortening the schedule is to help some of the smaller teams, especially. They don't have to find funding, because this day and age, even some of the big teams like Eric Jones doesn't have a fully sponsored car. Kurt Busch didn't have a fully sponsored car. That cuts down even for the big teams, especially the small teams, but even for the big teams, it kind of cuts down the number of races you need to fill. In the early 2000s, you could find a 36 race. You could find sponsors for full 36 races, but now you can find sponsors for 26, 28 races, and a lot of these teams are forced to run a few races virtually unsponsored. So this could help them, stop losing money in those races and make every race profitable for every race team. So that's why I'm in favor of shortening it a little bit. 28, I think, would still be a little jarring, but I think you guys make up a lot of good points. I think it's not a bad thing for them to shorten the schedule by a few weeks, perhaps, maybe a month or 2. I don't know.
All definitely seems like some good arguments here. Guys, anything else?
I think we got that big announcement here, bro. Yeah, that's right. All right, so next week on my channel, we're gonna be having on Sloppy Joe. Next week he's gonna be our special guest. But
that's our big announcement. Thank you all.
No, not quite. Earlier this week, we did a pre-recorded interview. Myself, Jarrett, and Eric. Unfortunately, not Danny B. He was at work, and kind of sucks he wasn't there and stuff. But we did an interview with a future Hall of Famer. That's right, the one and only Alan Bestwick, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 17-minute interview with, the man himself, Alan Bestwick, guys.
Mm-hmm. And it was
awesome.
It's a great 17 minutes. He offers a couple answers to his questions I thought were outstanding. I think he offered a good couple of I think he explained some of the things with NASCAR better than I've heard most other people explain it. So that was really cool for him to come on. I know we're all really excited.
The chat, oh my gosh, the chat is going ecstatic. Look at that, man.
We're excited to show you guys or share that video with you guys. It was great. I think you all are going to have a great time. Next week's episode is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to premiere. We're going to show it during the second hour. So at the top of the second hour, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to show it. It's about 17 minutes, and we'll kind of go over it. We asked, how many questions did we ask? Like, I'd say 9.
Yeah, we had
3 each.
9 or so.
So we asked like 9 questions. It's around 17 minutes, and he's really cool. He's a really awesome dude to talk to and stuff. So. Can't wait to show you guys that next week.
His voice still sounds as beautiful as ever, in case you guys want to know.
What they're trying to say is we're all going to be lazy and just turn on a video the whole time. We'll just be sitting here and like relaxing while it does it for us.
Yeah.
Well, right. And really quick, I forgot to say something last week, and I really wish I would have said it last week because it would have more of impact. But last week we had our premiere on January 30th. I was sort of sifting through some old emails, and I found the one that I sent to Danny about if he wanted to come onto the podcast. And I didn't realize this. We started planning season 2 around the end of August. Like, that's when we started planning the dates and getting everything starting to put together. I did not realize that January 30th, 2018 was when I sent off the email to Danny to start the podcast. So it was literally pretty much the 1 year anniversary of when we technically started the podcast. So
and it was such a weird thing because like I don't even think it was technically a podcast that we were suggesting. We were just kind of suggesting like working together on some kind of project, and like I was literally about to I guess I was about to go clean up, go take a shower, do something, and all of a sudden I just got this email. I was like, who the heck is Jarrett Lundberg?
I think I'd earlier in the day I'd left a comment on your why millennials will watch NASCAR this year or should. And I had said something, and you're just like, "Oh yeah, thanks for watching. That's really cool, man." And I'm just like, "Shit, I probably should actually send something to this guy in private." Oh, there goes my cussing streak already. All right, let's start another one. Woo! There's one on the year.
Yeah. What a difference a year makes getting this thing started, and now we got freaking Alan Bestwick on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
So hey,
great.
let's not talk about what we got in the future. Let's talk about this great and wonderful man here with us, Dale Reynolds. Dale, where can we find you at?
Where am I going to find me at? Where are you going to find me at? In the core, baby. We're going to be racing this, right? We're going to be racing this Friday. That's right. Well, I don't know about up at the front, but we're close to the front. Hopefully, maybe we'll lead some laps. We'll do real good here. Watkins Glen this week. So yeah. But got my channel down here. You guys can check the links out. And then very, very, very humbled. Appreciate you guys inviting me on this week. Like, thank you. You guys do such a fantastic job. And just humbled to be with you guys. And actually, I'm really looking forward to that Alan Bestwick interview next week because Alan Bestwick is one of my favorite commentators. And somebody put up a video recently of like his best calls, like 2 parts of it. I don't remember who it was, but they did a good job. So just real humble. Appreciate you guys inviting me on this week.
Yeah, thank you so much. Man.
Thanks for coming on, man.
We didn't tell you about the Bestwick interview, did we?
No, you guys. That's news to me. It's news to me, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it was funny because you were talking, and I remember we were talking on a PS4 party, and you were talking about like, hey, we got big plans for this thing, and it was about August, like you were saying, and we got big plans, and like you're talking about a couple other guys, and I think you mentioned Bestwick, and I'm like,
yeah,
no way.
yeah. I've mentioned him twice on my second channel. I remember we were doing a BS stream, and it was way back in June, and I was like, "Oh, Bestwick DM'd me." If you guys remember that, and then also a couple weeks ago, I was like, "Oh yeah, Alan Bestwick just got back to me and stuff." So it's been pretty obvious. I don't know. It's been like
in the works,
and it's been the whole thing's been hidden in plain sight, I guess you could say. If you watch my second channel, then it's not really that much of a surprise. But yeah.
Also, really quick, so Eric Keplinger put out there that the comment that started it all, I retweeted it, so it is on Twitter, if anyone wants to go look at it. So that's pretty cool. I don't know what to say. It's crazy what a difference a year could make, because at this point a year ago, pretty much everything for me was different.
Well,
different.
Think of it like this. Jarrett. By that time, I didn't know who you were. And now, at this point, I'm planning out my wedding in October. You are going to be one of my groomsmen. So.
Yeah, that's insane to think about. It all started with a comment and an email.
So a year ago, I didn't have any memes on me, and now I got 4. So that's counting.
Dude, 4 is like a low number for you. You probably have way more than that.
No, I have 4. I got 4.
You probably got way more that we don't even know about.
No. Well, you guys can go look that up. You guys
John Deere.
John Deere, Staborn,
Storks.
Greg Galding to the 41, and then
Storks.
Hold on, I'm not done. JTG Dottie, and then Storts now.
So 5.
John Deere.
That's 5. That is 5.
We got all 5-time here.
Yeah, so you got the 5-time meme champion right here. Black Lives Matter.
I want Carnation to put together a whole long series of videos of all of your memes.
Oh God!
Also,
God.
Before we go off, we do have to also. Danny B Talks is only 15 away from 4,000. We need to change this.
Damn. That's right.
Yeah. You want to hear that voiceover play a whole bunch that happens whenever you subscribe to him. We just need to hear a bunch of Danny stuff.
Yes, please make my ears explode.
If you're not sub to him, go ahead and do so.
Yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing to yourself? Sub to Danny B. Come on. Yeah. Sub to everybody, all 5 of us. Sub
to all 5 of us and stuff, so you can find out when the next weekly podcast is going to be on. We like to change it every week, so.
Next week on your channel, right, Darian?
That's right. You're damn right. We got Sloppy Joe and the Alan Bestwick next week.
Yep.
8 p.m. Eastern time on Black Flags Matter.
Yeah.
So you will find us, as Eric said, next week on Black Flags
and
Matter.
if there's any weather problems, it'll be on my second channel due to sort of like how Fox does the whole thing with FS1 and stuff like that.
All right. That's it. I'd say it's good.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for watching this week. Yeah, like
Thank you for subscribing to Danny B
here it comes
Talks. You're
now.
going to love
it's
it
in my
here.
ears now. I can hear it now. So people are subscribing. You will find us next week on Darren's channel, and then the week after that, we'll be finally letting all 81,000 of Eric Estep's followers see us.
Boy,
So,
let them loose.
So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.